with some NLTK stuff projects. I have here the Pequod, which is Moby Dick, named after Moby Dick. This is the ship in Moby Dick. I'll have it saved here as, well, it's not here. It's, I think, right here. There's a text file, and basically, here's some of the packages I imported. I don't really need this because it's not being used. NLTK, so I read from the text file and then I turn it into I have a text IO wrapper, and then I take this instance and I read the lines, create a string out of it. Alright, and that's all the list of the strings. So then we start off, we have a string here, and I think this is how the string starting off from the first chapter. And then I applied a word tokenize, a sentence tokenize. So basically here I have the word tokenize is an LTK uh, package that, or function that goes through and basically breaks up the entire text into individual words. And then the sentence tokenized breaks them up into sentences. It doesn't always do a great job, but I actually had to end up writing my own uh, functions in this. Right here, I have sort of writing my own functions for this. We have lexical density. That's just finding the how many unique words are being used. So if certain words, a lot of the words get repeated, then that's how much variety basically there is, right? This one's actually kind of stupid, but it's just finding what's the ratio of um, what's the ratio of exclamation marks to other characters. So some writers, I guess, are more generous with their use of exclamation marks, or they have characters in their works that have more exclamation marks. And what really motivated me for that was, I don't know if you've ever seen the Seinfeld episode where uh, Elaine has, this was back in like the old, the Stone Age when we didn't have cell phones all the time. And so in that episode, one of her boyfriend at the time, the guy who she's dating, I don't know if it's her boyfriend, whatever, takes a message about how like one of her friends is giving birth or was about to give birth, and so he took the message. And back in those days, like you might actually write down what somebody called and said because no text messaging, no cell phones really, not really text messaging, not really at all either. And so he wrote it down, and Elaine was like, got mad at him because he didn't put any exclamation marks on. I forget what the friend's name was. A friend that had a Susan, let's say it wasn't Susan, it was probably something else. Uh, Melissa had the baby or something, and she was like, "How come you didn't put an exclamation mark at the end of it?" It's like, and it was the whole like typical Seinfeld stupid thing where it's like some ridiculous thing gets blown out of proportion and then it becomes a reason for people to like break up, which of course it's not, but it's it's a comedy. But yeah, so this is kind of like the idea of like Well, how many people maybe use too many exclamation marks? Like the boyfriend said, or ex-boyfriend then. It's like maybe I'm not so generous with it, or whatever. I've been rambling too long for this. Uh, this is another function that just finds how many. You go through the text, and then you find just returns a count of all the lists of words that are bigger than this number. So it's a function, takes in two parameters, takes the text in, and then a number, and so it just returns a counter. So it'll, like, say for example, you want to find words longer than 10 in Moby Dick. It would return to you. All right. And then here's the stuff that I was really kind of needing to do, which was the filter stop words. So I think this is kind of important because when you have like all these stop words, um, the stop words kind of interfere with your analysis. So, for example, you wanted to say, because I mean, there's going to be how many thes and uhs and ands and things like that are there going to be, and you kind of can't like do a good frequency count for if you want to know how many times do they mention love in this thing. Well, it's kind of hard to get to love when you have, or maybe not love, but like revenge, right? How many times are there themes of revenge in this? And you're trying to find how many words there are of it. But then you have like, 2,500 examples of and that kind of distorts how your analysis. So you'd rather filter them out. So you have these things called stop words. And I actually try to improve on it. And I'll do this in another video, show how I basically took like text and Moby Dick and how like when you filter them out, you can sort of clean it up and so that you have more better. But you have something like I'll show in a separate video stop words, and I just added punctuation here. So filter out stop words and punctuation. And then I also filtered out, in order to really clean something up, I filtered out contractions because that's really makes things really kind of dicey, because of course, depending on what you want to do with it, I mean, you may want to have, obviously it would alter the semantics of your work if you're just cutting out. But I don't think I'm actually cutting out. I just combining the trailing ends of the semantics. So, like, if you wrote don't, I would probably be cutting out the apostrophe T, which would kind of make it hard to understand what it is. But I suppose I should just merge it. Like, if there's an apostrophe, just merge the two separate strings, but whatever. And then here's the thing it's just some stupid thing. You just find some basic stats of, so for Moby Dick, we found an average of about 22 words per sentence. The median was about 17. Some like this is a 400 word sentence, so that was, I think, after. Yeah, that was pretty interesting. So yeah, so this is all pretty cool. And I'll do another video showing how these